When it comes to being noticed, every detail counts. The marketplace is crowded. Valuable attention is scarce, and competition is fierce. Among the many elements that will contribute to the building of your successful dental laboratory brand, your colors, those that represent you and remind your customer of you, will no doubt be a potent tool for capturing the attention that you want, inciting emotions, and building that lasting connection with your dentist that you seek. And so the psychology of color, especially when it comes to branding, reveals a fascinating symbiosis between perception, emotion, and loyal behavior. And today on the podcast, I want to take you on a short journey into the mind, going beyond the mere visual aesthetics of color to see how color psychology and branding can influence the emotional triggers needed to build that lasting connection you wish to create with your customer. My name is Sasha, and this is Entrepreneur Insight. To understand the psychology of brand color, we must first comprehend how color is perceived by the human mind. Color psychology connects us with specific emotions. It triggers memories, and it influences, believe it or not, our decisions. Beneath the visual optic of every color lies DNA, right? It's like this power to communicate deep meaning through the lens of perceptions. And when it comes to color, right, the psychology of it, each hue carries with it a set of associations and perceptions. And research has confirmed the importance of intentionally selecting brand colors to help tell your story. What we're talking about here goes way beyond, again, appeal. What looks good? This is a strategic decision rooted in your brand's stated purpose, its promise, and its persona. The color of your brand identity, the colors that represent it, help communicate your why. It's about who you are, your values, and what you represent. And as our emotions directly influence the decisions that we make every day, color plays a huge role in shaping how we understand the world, and with it, how we connect to the brands that make up our world. To kind of give you a contextual example, I want to show you how at Harvest Dental we use color psychology as a major component to our brand system, and walk you through our color palette, why we've selected the colors that we have, and we have based on what they communicate about Harvest as a brand. And we actually have a page on our website devoted to this subject, and you can visit it by going to harvestdental.com/colors. That's plural. And you can kind of read about it. Launching into this, let's talk about belief, because belief is the core of everything that we all do. And so, what do I believe about color? I've shared some of it, but let me put this into a thesis for you. I believe that color as an element is a powerful vessel of feeling, attitude, and personality, intentionality and meaning. And how do I arrive at that belief because I've reverse engineered myself. I know why I'm attracted to the brands that I'm attracted to. And I would encourage you to take yourself through a very similar exercise. It's a self-awareness exercise. And so that belief is paramount to the Harvest strategic brand identity. Our color palette is broken down into two categories: primary colors and secondary colors. Our primary colors, before I even move forward, the colors that are in our system are dialed in to a direct PMS, an RGP, a CMYK code. You can't make a mistake and put a different shade of green on a Harvest communication piece. And I'll explain how we do that in a second. But we always make sure that the colors that are in our system are identical across all communication and marketing channels, whether digital or print. The Harvest primary colors, what are they? Well, to no surprise, if you know us, green, white, and gray. Well, let's define them. How did we arrive there? Green is Harvest's most identifiable color asset. And from an association standpoint, green symbolizes life, renewal, and energy. When it comes to brand associations, it's associated with growth, with harmony, and most importantly, the Harvest brand purpose, which is refreshing. To be refreshing. That's our purpose. In addition, the color green actually has been proven to be the easiest on the human eye. And it's because it requires no adjustment when it hits the retina. It lands smack dab in the middle of the spectrum. And you can actually look it up. It's pretty fascinating. Our second primary color is white. Yes, we view white space, as a color. And we actually use white space in ad creative to frame the essence of what we want to say, but also, again, pop the green and accentuate its meaning. White is an all-surrounding positive color. It symbolizes spirituality, purity, and possibility. It's associated with simplicity, with clarity, and with minimalism. Harvest is a minimalist brand. And so white is incorporated into that communication. And then we have gray. Gray is baked into our logo as the color of the spelled out dental text in Harvest Dental. We use that to contrast the green. And gray is a cool, natural, and balanced color. It symbolizes style, coherence, and modernity. And it's associated with consistency, detail, and aesthetics. And hopefully, some of these colors actually authentically represent Harvest as you know Harvest. And if you don't, then you don't. But for those that do, of course, our hope is that you're seeing the connection there. Moving to the secondary colors, these are kind of accent colors, and we use them very, very tactically and strategically. So our secondary colors include black and an interesting color called mimosa, which I love, by the way. And so we use black when we want to communicate strength and boldness. Black signifies authority, rebellion, and sophistication, and is associated with confidence, prestige, and elegance. And so, for instance, when we want to communicate a product category where a Harvest brand has chosen to live, a product category, we will use maybe an emboldened black font or a black container on white text to communicate authority in that category. And then we have this mimosa color, which is kind of like this bright yellow-orange color. With intention, mimosa was selected due to its delightful and radiant color, but also because it is in stark contrast to the other colors in the Harvest palette, and for good reason. because it communicates being outside the lines. Mimosa is placed to symbolize imagination, innovation, and enlightenment, and is associated with vision, creativity, and disruption. And so seeing how at Harvest we use colors to communicate, you may be thinking, what colors are right for my lab? What colors are right for my brand? And again, where most will go with what just looks good or won't even think about it at all, the brands that really actualize the value of color psychology will allow their purpose and brand values to inform the colors that they use. The brand personality always drives the brand identity, not the other way around. And any outward expression of your brand must start with who you are and why you exist. And defining these core building blocks will ensure that the colors you choose are cohesive with all of the other elements that make up your creative visual identity, your logo. Again, your palette, your color palette, your typography, and all the other graphic elements. It's a body. You're humanizing your brand. It's a body. Consistency is fundamental to effective brand communication. And so your use of color to convey the right message at the right time will play a pivotal role in establishing the brand identity you seek. By contrast to that, just throwing colors out there will do the opposite. It'll muddy the waters. We're looking for clarity, brand consciousness. We want somebody to be conscious of a value of your brand. The psychology of brand color teaches us that consistent use of color actually enhances brand recognition and recall. When your dentists repeatedly encounter a specific color in association with your brand that you've communicated, it becomes more deeply ingrained in their memory, which makes it a lot easier when they hear the word dental lab that your brand will be recalled first. This consistent visual identity enables brands to stand out because there's clutter, and establish that distinctive presence in the mind of the customer. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but we ensure that Harvest brand color consistency is deployed across all communication touchpoints and channels. And we do that by codifying them in a creative brand guideline, which identifies each color by code, when to use them, when not to use them. How do you violate the color system when you put two colors together that aren't supposed to be together, et cetera, et cetera. As we close, some reminders. The role of your brand's visual identity. It's not just to look good, but it's to penetrate into the intricate workings of the human mind and its response to color stimuli. It's the only way to differentiate yourself. Choose intentionally with the authenticity, based on the authenticity of who you are and what you stand for. By recognizing the nonverbal impact and power of color to communicate, you can strategically leverage your lab's visual identity to forge those emotional connections and establish those lasting impressions. Color is not just something we see, but something that we hear as an experiential language that can speak directly to the hearts and minds of our customers. And by harnessing this language effectively, your dental laboratory can transcend the sea of ordinary and leave an indelible, differentiated awareness in the minds of your dentists. That's it for today. See you next week on Entrepreneur Insight. Bye for now.